I'll be late tonight, I called out, tossing my jacket on the couch. Sarah glanced up from her book, her eyebrows knitting slightly. Late again? That makes 3 nights this week. I know. Just a project. Big client meeting, I said, forcing a smile. She nodded but didn't press further. That was Sarah, trusting, patient, unaware of the restlessness simmering inside me. You've seemed distracted lately, she said softly. I laughed, hiding the truth. Distracted? Me? Never. Just tired, that's all. Her eyes searched mine for a moment longer. If you say so. She closed her book. I watched her, and for a fleeting second, a pang of guilt hit me. Then Clara's face slipped into my mind. That bright, laughing face at the office had a way of making everything feel sharper, exciting, dangerous. The next day, she leaned over the desk, pointing at a report. You missed the numbers here. Double-check it. Thanks, Clara, I muttered, trying not to notice the way her hand brushed mine. My chest tightened. I shouldn't feel this way, I told myself. Sarah was waiting at home, the woman I promised forever to. Yet the thrill of Clara's attention made me ache. You okay? You seem distant, she asked, tilting her head. Yeah, just stressed, I said, brushing it off. I watched her walk away, laughing lightly with a coworker, and felt a guilty heat rise in me. Why did I want more than I had? Sarah was perfect, kind, beautiful, understanding, but in that moment she seemed ordinary. At dinner, Sarah looked radiant in the soft glow of our dining room. How was your day? Busy, I said, avoiding her eyes. Nothing special. You're lying, she said with a teasing smile. I can tell when you're hiding something. I chuckled, trying to keep the evening normal. Just tired. That's all. After dinner, she rested her head on my shoulder. I wanted to tell her, to confess the storm inside me, but fear and desire tangled together. I love these quiet nights, she murmured. Me too, I lied, thinking of Clara, of the possibility of more, of temptation waiting just beyond the edges of my perfect life. Later that week, I found myself walking past Clara's office after hours. She looked up, startled. Still here? I asked, pretending casual curiosity. Yeah, finishing some work. You? I could ask you the same, I said, feeling my pulse quicken. There was a spark in her eyes, playful, dangerous. I knew it wasn't just work. You're different around me, she said softly. I swallowed hard. Maybe. I just like working with you. Her smile made my resolve crumble. Or maybe you like me, she whispered. I stepped back, heart hammering, guilt clawing at me. Clara. I didn't finish. I couldn't. Walking home that night, I stared at our house, Sarah inside, oblivious, trusting me completely. And I realized, with a thrill that scared me, that I wanted more than what I had. More than Sarah. I wanted Clara. I can't believe you stayed so late again, Sarah said the next morning, her voice calm but edged with worry. Project deadlines, I replied quickly, trying to sound casual. Nothing to worry about. She tilted her head, suspicion in her eyes. You've been working late a lot lately. Is everything okay? Everything's fine, really, I insisted, forcing a smile. I felt a thrill as I said it, lying so easily, feeling the power of secrecy. Later that day, Clara appeared at my office with a stack of reports. You forgot the Henderson file, she said, her lips curling in that playful smirk I could never resist. I did. Thanks, Clara. My hands brushed hers when she handed the folder over. I felt a jolt run through me. My heart raced, and guilt clawed at me. But I pushed it down. Sarah wouldn't notice. She couldn't. You're tense, she said, leaning closer, her voice soft. What's going on in that head of yours? I chuckled nervously. Nothing. Just work stress. Her eyes held mine for a long moment. You're hiding something. I swallowed hard. Maybe I am. The words slipped out before I could stop them. Her smile widened, teasing and dangerous. Maybe I like that, she whispered. Every day, our encounters became riskier. Lunches at quiet cafes, coffee breaks in empty hallways, stolen glances across meetings. Every touch, every laugh, every shared secret sent a rush of electricity through me. You're going to get caught one day, I said during one of our late-night coffee runs. Clara leaned back, unconcerned. And if we do? You think Sarah wouldn't notice? I asked, my chest tightening. She trusts me completely. I can't betray her, not completely. You're betraying her already, Clara said softly, leaning closer. But you want me. Admit it. I hesitated, heart pounding. I do, but this is wrong. All of it. Her fingers brushed my hand, lingering longer than necessary. Wrong can be exciting, she murmured. I groaned, hiding my face in my hands. I can't keep doing this. Then promise me something, she said suddenly, her eyes serious now. Promise me one day, if it's ever meant to be, you'll give me a ring. A real one. Not just words. I froze. A ring? Yes, she whispered, brushing my shoulder. Someday. I trailed off, stunned by how my pulse sped up. I could feel the weight of the words settling in my chest. Okay, someday, I said finally, feeling the thrill and the guilt at the same time. After that night, I walked home slowly, Sarah's voice in my head. You've been distracted lately. Something's wrong. I clenched my fists, trying to shake the memory of Clara's smile. Nothing's wrong, I whispered to myself. But I knew it wasn't true. At home, Sarah poured me a glass of wine. You've been quiet, she said, sitting beside me on the couch. Talk to me. I forced a smile, raising the glass. Just tired. Long day. She studied me for a moment, then nodded, letting it go. I watched her, feeling a pang of guilt that twisted in my chest. I had everything with her, and yet I wanted more. That night, I lay awake, replaying Clara's words. The promise of a ring. The forbidden excitement. My hands itched to call her, to see her again. I knew I was crossing a line, but I couldn't stop. I was living on the edge, and the spark between us burned brighter every day. Everyone, I have something to say, I announced, standing in the center of the living room. Our family and friends were gathered for dinner, laughter filling the air. Sarah sat across from me, smiling warmly, completely unaware of the storm about to hit. I took a deep breath and turned to Clara, who stood beside me, eyes sparkling with excitement. Clara, will you marry me? The room fell silent. Utensils clinked, conversations froze. I felt the rush of adrenaline, the power of the moment, the thrill of having everyone's attention. Sarah's smile disappeared. Her eyes widened, and for a moment, I saw something I hadn't expected, hurt. Real deep hurt. Excuse me? She said softly, her voice trembling but steady. I asked you a question, Clara, I said, trying to ignore the weight in Sarah's gaze. Clara blinked, then smiled, whispering, Yes. Gasps rippled through the room. Friends exchanged stunned glances. I felt triumphant, the world bending to my desires. Yet, at the edge of that thrill, I noticed Sarah's hand tightening around her glass, knuckles white. Is this a joke? She asked, voice low. I laughed nervously. No. This is real. I want to be with her. Her eyes flashed, cutting through me like ice. With her? After everything? After what? I asked, trying to keep my composure. Sarah stood, her movements calm but deliberate. After the years we spent together. After the life we built. You're proposing to her, here? Now? I opened my mouth, but no words came. The excitement and adrenaline drained, replaced by a prickling unease. Clara, I began, but she gave me a questioning look, waiting for affirmation. Sarah's voice rose slightly, not in anger but in strength. I trusted you. I loved you. And this is how you repay me? I felt heat rise to my face. Sarah, it's not. You don't get to explain, she interrupted, turning toward the door. I need air. I froze as she walked out, her figure disappearing down the hallway. Silence filled the room again. Clara's hand found mine, but I couldn't respond. Wow, Clara whispered, her voice soft. That was intense. Intense? I snapped, the adrenaline returning, mixed with confusion and anger. She left. She actually left. Clara squeezed my hand. Maybe she just needs time. Time? I muttered. Time? She just walked out because I proposed to you. How can that be fair? You chose her, Clara said gently, her eyes searching mine. We can't control how she reacts. I laughed bitterly, pacing. Fair? Nothing about this feels fair. She's making me feel guilty for wanting someone else. You can't ignore the pain you caused, Clara said quietly. I didn't mean to. My voice faltered. I looked at the empty doorway, Sarah gone, leaving nothing but silence. My triumph had vanished, replaced with confusion and a gnawing sense of loss. Maybe I rushed, I admitted, sinking into a chair, staring at Clara's expectant face. Her hand lingered on mine. Or maybe she just showed you how much she really mattered. I swallowed hard, realizing she was right. The exhilaration I'd felt moments ago had collided violently with the cold truth. Sarah's absence left a void I hadn't expected. I was stunned, angry, and terrified. Clara found me in the study, staring blankly at the half-empty wine glass. You've been quiet all day, she said, leaning against the doorframe. I'm fine, I muttered, avoiding her gaze. Fine? She echoed, raising an eyebrow. You look like someone hit you with a truck. I laughed nervously. It's nothing. Just the family gathering. It was intense. Intense? She asked, stepping closer. You proposed to me in front of everyone, and you call that intense? I don't know, I admitted, my voice tight. I thought I wanted this. I thought I could handle it. Clara's hand brushed mine. You look like you're falling apart instead. I pulled back, shaking my head. No. I'm fine. Really? You're lying, she said softly, and I knew she could see right through me. I ran a hand over my face. I didn't expect Sarah to react like that. I thought she'd. I stopped. I couldn't finish. Thought she'd what? Clara pressed. That she'd forgive me. Understand me. Not leave, I admitted, voice barely above a whisper. She sighed, sitting across from me. You can't control her feelings. You made a choice. I know, I muttered. I keep thinking about her. About us. The life we had. You mean the life you're throwing away? Clara asked, her tone gentle but firm. I flinched. I'm not throwing it away. I wanted more. I wanted excitement, something different. Clara studied me silently for a moment, then shook her head. You look miserable. I stared at the floor. She was right. I felt hollow, as if a part of me had been ripped away. Every memory of Sarah, our quiet mornings, the way she laughed at my terrible jokes, the comfort of her presence, was now a painful echo. I can't stop thinking about her, I admitted finally. Everywhere I look, I see her. I hear her voice. Even when I'm with you, Clara, I feel it. You're in denial, she said softly. You think being with me can fix this? I don't know, I whispered. Maybe. I don't know what I want anymore. My phone buzzed on the desk. I ignored it at first, afraid of the message. But curiosity won. The screen lit up with a name I hadn't wanted to see, Sarah. I opened it. Her message read, I'm leaving for London tomorrow. Business opportunity. I'll be gone for months. I stared at the words, my chest tightening. I wanted to call her, beg her to stay, explain myself, but the fear of rejection froze me. Clara's eyes followed mine. What is it? She's leaving, I said, my voice breaking. 4 months. London. A business opportunity. Her expression softened. And how does that make you feel? Empty, I admitted. Hollow. And guilty. I wanted her, and I pushed her away. Now, I don't even know if she'll ever forgive me. Clara reached out, touching my arm. Then maybe it's time to face it. Stop pretending you're fine. I nodded slowly, swallowing hard. The denial, the excitement, the thrill I'd felt with Clara, it all felt meaningless now. Sarah's absence carved a void I couldn't ignore, and for the first time, I wondered if I had made a mistake I couldn't fix. I stared at the message again, heart pounding. The life I took for granted was gone. And maybe I realized it was my fault. Did you hear about Sarah? A colleague asked casually as I walked past the break room. I froze mid-step. Sarah? What about her? I tried to keep my tone light. She's running a company now. Some startup she launched in London. Apparently it's doing really well, he said with a grin. I forced a chuckle. That's impressive, I muttered, walking away before he could see the heat rising in my chest. Later that night, I couldn't stop thinking about her. Sarah, my Sarah, thriving without me, independent, powerful. It stung more than I expected. Clara noticed my distraction during dinner. You're quiet again, she said, her voice careful. Thinking about her? I waved it off. No. Just work stress. You're lying, she said, narrowing her eyes. I can see it. Every time her name comes up, you tense. You can't hide it forever. I sighed, running a hand through my hair. I can't help it. I keep hearing things, seeing posts, news articles. She's everywhere. And it bothers you? Clara asked softly, studying my face. It should. She shouldn't be outshining me, I admitted, my voice low. Not like this. Clara tilted her head. Or maybe it's just that you underestimated her. Her words hit harder than she knew. I had thought I knew Sarah completely. I thought I had seen every part of her. But months away, and she had reinvented herself. I felt a sting of jealousy and fear that she was moving faster than I ever could. She's changed, I said quietly, more to myself than to her. And not in a way I expected. Clara reached out, brushing her fingers against mine. Maybe it's time you accept that. You pushed her away. She moved on. You can't control that. I know, I said, biting my lip. But seeing her succeed, it's like she's proving something. To me. You're worried she's better than you now, Clara said bluntly. I avoided her gaze. I can't stop thinking about it. Every article I read, every rumor, it's like she's everywhere. And here I am, stuck. You brought this on yourself, Clara said softly. You wanted something else, and now you're watching her grow without you. I didn't realize she'd be this strong, I admitted. I thought leaving was the end. That I'd still have control over her. Over us. Clara's lips pressed into a thin line. Control? You never had control, not really. You just wanted it. And she's showing what she can do without you. Her words cut deep, but the truth settled inside me. Sarah wasn't just surviving, she was thriving. She was proving she didn't need me, didn't need my approval, and definitely didn't need my betrayal to hold her back. I swallowed hard, the mix of anger, jealousy, and regret swirling inside me. I underestimated her, I admitted quietly. Completely. Clara nodded. And now? Now, I trailed off, staring at my hands. Now I know I misjudged her. And it scares me. Good, she said, finally smiling faintly. Maybe now you'll start taking things seriously. I didn't respond. All I could think about was Sarah, resilient, ambitious, unstoppable, and the part of me that had foolishly thought she'd be broken, or at least waiting, was gone. I realized, with a hollow ache, that I had underestimated her, and I was paying the price. You didn't get the tickets I asked for? Clara snapped, tossing her purse onto the couch as soon as I walked in. I forgot, I said quickly, heart racing. I'll get them tomorrow. I promise. That's what you said last week, she muttered, crossing her arms. I need attention, not excuses. I rubbed my temples. Clara. I'm trying. Work's been. Work? She interrupted sharply. Your work used to be important, but lately you're distracted. You don't care about anything but her. I flinched, guilt and irritation colliding. Sarah's in London. I can't help thinking about her sometimes, but I'm here, aren't I? I'm trying to be with you. Her eyes softened slightly, but the tension didn't leave her voice. Trying isn't enough. I need more than half-hearted attention. I swallowed hard. I'll do better. I promise. Clara gave me a long look and sighed, running a hand through her hair. Money, attention, gifts. I shouldn't have to remind you. You're making it harder for both of us. I nodded, silent, feeling the trap I had fallen into. She wasn't just a thrill anymore, she was a responsibility, and one I couldn't fully manage. The next morning, I sat in the conference room, staring at the declining sales charts. We're losing the Henderson deal, my colleague said. What? How? I muttered, disbelief and panic mixing in my voice. Deals I had thought secure were falling apart. I felt the pressure tightening around me, the slow sting of karma creeping in. Later, at lunch, a friend mentioned Sarah casually. Did you see Sarah's post? She's speaking at the Global Business Summit next month. Big stage. Everyone's talking about it. I froze. Speaking? Really? Yeah, he said. She's killing it. People admire her confidence and leadership. I felt a hollow twist in my chest. Admiration. For Sarah. Without me. That night, Clara noticed my distraction again. What's wrong now? She asked, watching me push my food around the plate. Nothing, I muttered. Just tired. You're lying, she said flatly. I can see it. That's her, isn't it? Sarah? I hesitated, then nodded reluctantly. She's speaking at a huge event. Everyone's talking about her. I can't stop thinking about it. Clara's lips pressed into a thin line. And you expected what? That you'd be proud and happy? I don't know, I admitted, leaning back. I should be happy for her. But seeing her succeed, it makes me feel small, like I wasted all my energy on nothing. You're jealous, Clara said softly. And it's showing. I am, I said quietly. And I hate myself for it. Clara studied me for a moment, then shook her head. You wanted excitement, didn't you? Now you've got it, with me, with everything unraveling around you. And you still can't be satisfied. I thought I had control, I muttered. I thought I could manage it all. Sarah, you work. But I can't. Everything's slipping. Clara reached across the table, her hand brushing mine. Maybe that's the point. You can't control her, you can't control me, and you can't control fate. I stared at her hand, feeling a mix of anxiety, tension, and envy. I underestimated her, I whispered. I underestimated everything. And as the words left my mouth, I realized my world wasn't just cracking. It was collapsing, piece by piece, and there was nothing I could do to stop it. I didn't expect to see her. Not here, not now. The networking event was crowded, filled with suits, small talk, and laughter, but then I saw her, Sarah. Standing by the entrance, radiant, composed, every eye on her as if she owned the room. Do you know her? A colleague asked, nudging me. I shook my head, my throat tight. No, not personally, I lied. Sarah spotted me almost instantly. Her eyes flicked my way, polite but distant. She raised a hand slightly, acknowledging me without breaking her composure. My stomach churned. Wow, Clara whispered beside me, clearly noticing my reaction. She looks different. Powerful. Yeah, I muttered, trying to hide my flush. She's thriving. I stepped closer, forcing a casual smile. Sarah, hi. I didn't expect to see you here. She smiled, calm and elegant. Hello? It's been a while. Her tone was courteous, almost neutral. It has, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I heard about your work in London. Congratulations. Really impressive. Thank you, she said softly, her eyes scanning the crowd before returning to me. It's been challenging, but rewarding. I nodded, feeling a pang of something I couldn't name, regret, jealousy, longing. I can imagine. You always had a way of making things look easy. Sarah chuckled lightly. Maybe. Or maybe I just learned how to survive. Her words stung. Survival. She had moved forward without me, without waiting for my approval, without needing me at all. Clara's hand on my arm snapped me back. You okay? She whispered, a flicker of jealousy in her eyes. I'm fine, I muttered, avoiding her gaze. Just surprised to see her. Sarah took a step back. I don't want to take up too much of your time. No, I said quickly. I just wanted to say hello. See how you're doing. She smiled politely. I appreciate that. I hope everything is well for you. I swallowed hard. It is, I lied. Mostly. Her eyes lingered on me for a moment longer, calm, confident, unshaken. Then she turned, walking gracefully toward a group of executives. I watched her go, each step a reminder that she had left the past behind. Clara's hand tightened on mine. You okay? She asked again, more sharply this time. Yeah, I said, forcing a laugh. I'm fine. But I wasn't. My chest ached as I realized the truth, one I couldn't escape. I had lost more than a wife. I had lost the woman I truly loved, the one whose presence had once defined my world. And no amount of excuses, no stolen glances, no lies could bring her back. Clara frowned, sensing my distance. She matters a lot to you, doesn't she? I nodded slowly, eyes still following Sarah from across the room. More than I realized, I admitted. And maybe I finally understand what I threw away. Clara didn't respond, but I could see the tension in her jaw, the flicker of jealousy. I didn't blame her. No one could replace the ghost of what Sarah had been for me, the trust, the warmth, the life I had taken for granted. The night carried on around us, laughter and chatter filling the air, but I felt hollow, exposed, and painfully aware of everything I had lost. For the first time, I understood that seeing Sarah thrive wasn't just a reminder of my failures. It was proof that she didn't need me anymore. And that cut deeper than any betrayal or disappointment ever could. I sat in my office, staring at my laptop, the cursor blinking like an accusing eye. I could contact the Henderson group, maybe nudge them toward our side, I muttered, mostly to myself. Clara leaned against the doorframe, arms crossed. You're plotting again, aren't you? I'm just thinking strategically, I said quickly, forcing calm. It's business, nothing personal. Business? She echoed, eyebrows raised. You've been obsessed with her success for months. This isn't business. It's jealousy. I'm not jealous, I said sharply, though my voice faltered. I want what I should have had. I deserve some control here. You don't deserve anything, Clara said softly. You made your choices. You pushed her away. All you have left is this. I turned back to the screen, trying to focus. Emails to clients, subtle manipulations, half-hearted bribes. I tried everything. Each plan seemed brilliant in my mind, but reality kept mocking me. She's untouchable, I whispered, more to myself than anyone else. Every move I make, she's already 3 steps ahead. Clara came closer. You can't fight this. You can't control her life, or undo what you did. You're grasping at shadows. I leaned back in my chair, fingers drumming on the desk. I thought I could manipulate things, that I could, I don't know, assert myself somehow. But every time it fails. And it's humiliating. Maybe that's karma. Clara said bluntly, her eyes sharp. Maybe it's supposed to be humiliating. I groaned, running a hand over my face. I hate feeling powerless. I hate knowing she's out there, thriving, and I'm stuck here. Stuck with my mistakes. You made your bed, Clara said, sitting across from me. Now lie in it. I know, I admitted, voice low. But I can't just sit back and watch. I keep thinking, maybe one misstep on her part, one bad decision. I could capitalize. I could reclaim some pride, some control. You won't, Clara said. Not with your current state of mind. You're chasing shadows, and the more you chase, the farther she gets. I leaned forward, fists clenched. I tried contacting a client today. Tried to plant doubts about her project. Subtle, clever, but she handled it perfectly. My influence? Nothing. It's like I'm invisible. Clara's lips pressed together. And that's when you realize what? That I'm inadequate. I muttered, my chest tight. I thought I was smart, resourceful, in control, but I'm not. I'm weak. I was selfish, arrogant. I ruined everything. Clara nodded slowly. And yet here you are, plotting revenge like it could fix the past. You're blinded by your pride. I know, I said finally, staring at my hands. Every failed attempt, every trick I try, it's just a reminder of what I lost. Not her business, not her reputation, her. The woman I loved. The one I destroyed my chance with. Silence filled the room. Clara didn't push further. I felt hollow, exhausted, trapped between resentment and regret. My schemes had failed, my pride bruised, and my moral compass fractured. I realized then, revenge wasn't an option. My inadequacy wasn't something I could manipulate away. And the woman I had truly lost, she wasn't coming back. I sat in the boardroom, silent, watching as my colleagues nodded attentively at the video stream. Sarah's face filled the screen, confident, composed, every word precise. She commanded attention effortlessly, her authority unquestioned. Unbelievable, Clara muttered beside me, her tone edged with frustration. She's unstoppable. I know, I said quietly, my throat tight. I know. She's overshadowing you. Clara continued, eyes narrowing. Don't you feel it? I feel it, I admitted, my voice low. Every word she says, every gesture, she's powerful. More than I ever imagined. You lost your edge, Clara said, crossing her arms. You're distracted, weak, and it's showing. That's why I'm losing interest. I looked down, swallowing hard. She was right. My schemes, my attempts at regaining control, meaningless. My arrogance, my selfishness, they had cost me everything. Clara's irritation, my professional credibility, and the one person who truly mattered. The screen flickered, and Sarah's words resonated across the room. Leadership is about integrity, vision, and courage. The rest falls into place when you focus on people, not ego. I felt my chest tighten. Ego. That was my downfall. I had thought I controlled the world, that my cleverness and charm were enough. But here she was, proving me wrong, effortlessly. She's teaching them, showing them how to lead, I whispered, voice trembling. I used to have that. Or at least I thought I did. Clara's hand brushed mine. You used to, she said softly, but it wasn't comforting. Now, she's the one with the power. I exhaled sharply, guilt twisting in my stomach. I underestimated her. I betrayed her. I laughed at her ambition, ignored her potential, and now I'm watching her rise while I fall. You're realizing something, Clara said, eyes locked on mine. But it's too late to change what you lost. I nodded slowly, the truth settling heavily on my shoulders. I can't control her. I can't manipulate her. I can't touch the life she's building. Clara's gaze softened, but disappointment lingered. And me? She asked quietly. I'm fading too. You pushed me with your indecision, your obsession with her. Now I'm just another complication. I know, I admitted, the weight of my choices pressing down on me. I let everything slip. My arrogance, my selfishness, my betrayal. It's all unraveling. A colleague whispered behind me, praising Sarah's insight during a strategic discussion. I felt a pang of envy, sharp and bitter. The respect she commanded, the admiration she inspired. I had lost that. And it hurt more than any failure I'd experienced. Power, it's hers now. I murmured, almost to myself. Not mine. I'm irrelevant. Clara's eyes searched mine. Irrelevant is the right word. You wanted control, remember? But she's stronger than you ever were. I swallowed hard, nodding. I see it now. I see everything I've done wrong. Every betrayal, every selfish choice. And I can undo it. The screen faded as the conference ended, and Sarah's presence lingered in the room like a shadow. Every handshake, every nod, every respect-filled glance reminded me she was no longer someone I could dominate. I'm not in control anymore. I admitted quietly, my chest heavy. She holds the power I thought I owned. And I don't know how to live with that. Clara's hand left mine, her expression unreadable. Silence hung between us, filled with the weight of my regret, my fear, and the undeniable truth. The world had shifted, and I was standing on the wrong side of it. The office was empty, silent except for the hum of the air conditioner. I sank into my chair, staring at the pile of failed deals on my desk. How did it all fall apart so fast? I muttered, voice tight. Clara's voice came from the doorway. You did this to yourself, she said softly, arms crossed. Every misstep, every lie, every betrayal, you created this. I didn't mean for it to happen like this, I said, running a hand through my hair. I thought I was being smart, in control. I never imagined losing everything. You lost me, she said flatly. You lost your friends, your credibility, and now me. And you're still pretending it's not your fault. I swallowed hard. I can't fix it. I don't know if I can ever fix it. You can't, Clara said. You can only watch. And you're watching it all collapse. I leaned back, feeling the hollow weight of truth. My arrogance, my betrayal, my selfishness, they had cost me everything I ever valued. The thrill I sought with Clara, the attempts to regain control over Sarah's life, even my professional reputation, it had all crumbled. I never thought I'd feel this powerless, I whispered. Every client, every deal slipping through my fingers. Every friend turning away, and now Clara leaving. Clara shook her head, eyes cold. I can't stay here, waiting for your ego to collapse further. I tried to support you, but you're too far gone. Her words hit me harder than any failure ever could. I understand, I admitted. I should have seen it coming. I should have. I don't know, acted differently. Clara gave me one last look. Goodbye, she said, stepping away. I watched her go, chest tight, and felt the final blow of abandonment. Alone, I stared at the walls, the silence pressing in. My past arrogance, my betrayal of Sarah, my foolish obsession with control, it had led me here, to rock bottom. Then the mail arrived. I picked up a thin envelope, unmarked. With trembling hands I opened it. I hope you are well. I want to thank you, for teaching me resilience, for showing me what I can overcome. But I need you to understand something. My life has moved forward, and there is no place for you in it. I wish you clarity and growth, but your presence is not welcome in my new world. Sarah. I dropped the letter, hands shaking. My chest ached as I read the words over and over, each sentence a confirmation of the distance I had created. I taught her nothing. I whispered to myself. I destroyed what mattered most. And now, she's gone. All of it, gone. The room felt colder, emptier, as the reality settled. Friends had left. Deals failed. Clara abandoned me. And Sarah. Sarah had moved on, unshaken, thriving without me. I leaned back, staring at the ceiling, tears stinging my eyes. I see it now. Every betrayal, every selfish choice, it all belongs to me. I can't blame anyone else. Not Clara. Not Sarah. Not fate. Just me. The silence pressed down, and I felt my world smaller, stripped of pretense and illusion. The pain was raw, unrelenting, but clear. For the first time, I allowed myself to accept it. Accept that my downfall was my own doing. Accept that the woman I loved would never be mine again. Accept that I had to face the consequences of my choices, alone. And in that acceptance, harsh as it was, I found a sliver of clarity. Acknowledgement of my mistakes, even if it came with unbearable loss, was the only step I could take toward some form of redemption. I walked through the office building, head down, trying to ignore the stares. Not that anyone openly mocked me. Sarah wasn't cruel like that. She didn't need to humiliate me publicly. My life had become its own punishment. A junior colleague hesitated before speaking. "Sir, the Henderson deal, they went with Sarah's company." I nodded, forcing a smile. "I see. Good for them. Are you okay?" he asked softly, sensing my faltering composure. "I'm fine," I said, voice hollow. "Really?" Alone in my office, I sat at my desk, staring at the empty calendar and the declining figures. Clara had left weeks ago, tired of my indecision and obsession with Sarah. My friends had stopped returning calls. My empire, once my pride, was crumbling quietly around me. I whispered to myself, "This is what I earned." Every betrayal, every selfish choice, it all comes back. I remembered Sarah's letter again, the calm, graceful words that had pierced me deeper than any argument could. "No place for you in my new world." "You were right, Sarah," I muttered, voice barely audible. "I deserved this. I thought I controlled everything. I thought I could manipulate, twist, and take what I wanted. I was wrong." A knock at the door startled me. "Sir, there's someone here to speak with you," the assistant said. I didn't look up. "Send them in," I said, knowing it couldn't be her. Not Sarah. It was just a client, offering condolences for a lost partnership, polite but distant. I forced conversation, nodding, smiling, but inside, the emptiness gnawed at me. Clara's words echoed in my mind, "You're standing on the wrong side of power." I leaned back, closing my eyes. "She doesn't even need to say anything," I whispered. "Her influence is everywhere. Every handshake, every deal, every acknowledgement of her competence, it's all proof that I misjudged her, underestimated her." A coworker walked by, glancing at the news on their screen. "Did you see Sarah's keynote? She's amazing. Everyone's talking about her leadership." I swallowed hard. "Yes," I said, my voice tight. "I saw." It was bitter, watching her thrive, respected, powerful, without me. And yet, there was clarity in the bitterness. My mistakes were irreversible. The woman I betrayed, the trust once shattered, the arrogance that blinded me, they could never be undone. I whispered again, this time with acceptance. "This is karma. Silent, quiet, unavoidable. I don't need her to humiliate me. Life is doing it perfectly." The office phone rang. I ignored it. Emails piled up. Deadlines approached. Yet I felt strangely detached. I had nothing left to manipulate, no one to impress, no illusions of control. "I have to live with this," I admitted to the empty room. Alone, without her, without Clara, without my pride. Every day a reminder of what I destroyed. And in that silence, I began to understand something crucial. Some things, trust, love, respect, cannot be reclaimed once lost. No clever scheme, no apology, no gesture could change the past. I could only accept it. I exhaled slowly, letting the weight settle. "Sarah won," I whispered. "She always did. And I will have to carry the consequences of my own actions for the rest of my life." The quiet settled around me, heavy but inevitable. I stared at the city beyond the window, her triumph clear in every reflection, every shadow. My mistakes were irreversible, and my life a shadow of what it once had been. Finally, I accepted it, bitterly and fully. I had lost the woman I loved, the trust one destroyed, and the power I once held. And the only lesson left was to live with it. I was learning to live with the ghosts of my mistakes without letting them dominate me. A colleague called, asking about an old project. I smiled faintly, shaking my head. Not now. I'm starting something new. Slowly, but for real this time, I said. Hours passed. I worked quietly, interrupted only by the occasional news alert. Sarah's success continued to dominate headlines, her influence undeniable. I felt a pang of longing, a whisper of what could have been, but it was tempered with a growing sense of acceptance. I can admire her, I muttered, and still live my own life. I don't have to compete. I just have to build. I looked around the small apartment, at the tools and notes scattered across the desk. This is mine. Not stolen, not taken, not lost. Mine. As evening fell, I sat back, hands clasped, reflecting. The memory of Sarah lingered, a reminder of my failures, but also of resilience. I would carry that lesson, silent but powerful, into whatever I created next. A soft smile touched my lips. Slowly, I whispered again. One day at a time. I can move forward even if I never forget. Outside, the city continued its rhythm. Inside, I felt the first flicker of hope, small, tentative, yet undeniable. The world hadn't forgiven me, and perhaps neither had I, but I could at least try. And maybe, just maybe, that was enough to start over. I sat at the small desk in my apartment, surrounded by papers and sketches. The hum of the city outside felt quieter than usual, almost reflective. Okay, I whispered to myself, voice shaky but determined. This is a start. Just start. Clara was gone. Sarah was thriving. My friends had drifted away. Everything I had built, every illusion of control, had disappeared. And yet, somehow, I had to begin again. I picked up a notebook, flipping through pages filled with half-formed ideas. Patience, I muttered, reminding myself. Humility. Self-awareness. No shortcuts. A knock at the door startled me. I opened it to a delivery, just a package of supplies I had ordered. At least this is mine, I said quietly, trying to find solace in small victories. Sitting back down, I started drafting plans for a personal project, a simple business idea, nothing grand, nothing flashy. It was mine, and it was honest. I can't fix the past, I said aloud, but I can try to build something for the future. The phone buzzed. A news alert. I hesitated, then tapped it open. Sarah's face appeared on the screen, radiant and confident as she gave a keynote speech. The words flowed smoothly. Leadership is about integrity, courage, and respect. Every challenge is an opportunity, every failure a lesson. I leaned back, chest tight. She's incredible, I whispered. Pride mixed with regret, bitter and sweet. Pride for her achievements, regret that I had been the one to push her away, to betray her trust. Clara's words echoed in my head. You can't control her. You can't undo the past. I closed my eyes. I know, I said softly. I can't. All I can do is move forward, slowly. I opened the notebook again, writing down goals, timelines, reminders. Step by step. One task at a time. I told myself. This is my life now. I own it honestly this time. The apartment felt emptier without Clara or Sarah's presence looming in my thoughts, yet somehow lighter. I poured a glass of whiskey and sat by the window, city lights flickering like distant stars. The apartment was quiet, empty, save for the echoes of my thoughts. Here we are, I whispered, lifting the glass. One last reflection. Clara was gone. Sarah was thriving. Friends had left. I had nothing left but the remnants of my choices and the lessons they carried. I swirled the amber liquid and muttered. I thought I could control everything. I thought I could bend life to my will. I was wrong. My phone buzzed, another alert of Sarah's latest achievement. She had opened a new branch of her company, expanding her influence globally. I stared at the headline, chest tight. "She's unstoppable," I admitted softly, voice barely above a whisper. I leaned back in my chair. And I destroyed my chance. Every betrayal, every selfish act, it all led me here. The whiskey burned as I took a sip, and I let the silence settle around me. It was a bitter silence, heavy with regret, but it was also clear. I had to accept it. I had to accept her triumph, my mistakes, and the consequences that came with them. "I learned too late," I said aloud, "that love requires honesty, trust, and respect. That arrogance and selfishness ruin everything. That some things can't be taken back." I remembered the look on Sarah's face when I proposed to Clara. The cold shock, the heartbreak. I remembered Clara's disappointment and eventual departure. And now, months later, I was left with nothing but reflection. "Clara tried to guide me," I muttered, shaking my head. "I ignored her. My friends tried to warn me. I ignored them. And Sarah, she kept moving forward, even when I was too blind to see." I set the glass down, fingers tracing the rim. "It's karma," I whispered. "Quiet, relentless, fair. No humiliation needed. Life has a way of teaching lessons that words cannot convey." The room felt heavy, yet somehow lighter. I had hit rock bottom, yes, but in that collapse, I found clarity. "I have to rebuild myself," I said softly. Slowly. Honestly. Without shortcuts, without manipulation, without expecting the world to bend for me. I picked up a notebook beside me, my small project, my tentative steps forward. "Step by step," I said aloud. "Patience, humility, self-awareness. That's how I move forward." Outside, the city pulsed with life. Somewhere in the world, Sarah was speaking, commanding respect, inspiring people. And I raised my glass quietly. "To you, Sarah," I said softly, voice trembling. "For your strength, your resilience, your grace. You won and I accept it. I accept my failures, my arrogance, my selfishness. I accept the life I have now, and I'll try to grow from it." I drank slowly, letting the whiskey burn, letting the words sink in. There was no bitterness left, only acceptance. No illusions, no regrets that could undo what had happened. Only the truth. Sarah had triumphed, and I had learned, finally, how to face my own reflection honestly. "Thank you," I whispered, almost silently. "For showing me what matters. For showing me what I lost. For showing me who I could become, if I choose to change." The glass set back on the table, empty but heavy with significance. I exhaled, letting the weight of the past settle. The story had ended for her, and my chapter of reckoning had begun. And in that quiet, reflective moment, I found closure, not in victory, not in revenge, not in illusions of power, but in acceptance. In honesty. In the small, fragile hope that I could become better, even if some things could never be reclaimed.